Hello everyone and welcome to the inaugural episode of Minecraft Disney World. This is a series in which every week I'm going to pick one attraction or location from Disney World that is recreated here on the mcmagic.us server. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it, both in terms of Minecraft and just the history of it in real Disney World. So this week we're going to be covering Main Street USA now. Main Street USA is sort of the introductory part of the Magic Kingdom, which is arguably the most iconic park in Disney World. And we're starting out here in the main gates, and let's just walk through it a little bit and talk about the Magic Kingdom. So the Magic Kingdom opened on October 1st, 1971, so Main Street opened right along with it. It's sort of, well, it's not a replica, but it is based off of Main Street USA in Disneyland, which opened in the 50s, however on a larger scale. Now, when you go through these tunnels here, it's interesting. Walt Disney, before they got into theme parks, they were known as a film company. They made cartoons, they made movies, and so naturally a lot of people who worked on the Disney movies and cartoons were brought over in the company to work on the parks, and so a lot of elements of filmmaking are really on display here in Disney World, and one of them is Main Street and how Main Street functions. And by that I mean it sort of functions like the opening credits of a movie. Typically when you go to a movie theater, what do you see in the hallways? You see posters for upcoming movies. And in the hallways here in the real Disney World are posters for attractions that you can ride here at Disney, like Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, things like that. And it is very deliberately two tunnels on the side because they want to really guide your experience in every way. And so when you come through, this is what you see. This is, you know, the end of Main Street, and it's because they want a very specific reveal, and that reveal is they want you to turn this corner and see Cinderella's castle and the partner statue. We can see the partner statue now, but because of the draw distance, we can't see the castle just yet. But this is Main Street USA, so it serves more as a area of function at Disney World than anything else. You've got Tony's Town Square restaurant where you can eat. You have guest services over, you know, in the quote-unquote City Hall building. And the shops on the side are more or less that. They're shops and candy stores and places where you get food. There isn't much in the way of actual rides. Now, there is the railroad up here, and what the railroad does is it takes you around Magic Kingdom, so you can, you know, hop off at a part of the park that you specifically want to go to if you don't want to walk up Magic Kingdom. Now, this place, like the one in Disneyland, is heavily influenced by Walt's upbringing in Missouri. Now, he only lived there for a couple of years. He was born in Chicago, and I believe he moved back to Chicago when he was a teenager. But he remembers those years, and they were really formative and sort of gave him the experience he wanted to create this, you know, all-American park. And so the Main Street is made to look like his Main Street, except it's a little different here, and it's a little different just in Disney in general. Two of the interesting facts about it, one sort of specific to Walt Disney World, is what they call the four corners. And what that means is the four corners of Main Street, the two at the end there and the two here, are stylistically different for different types of architecture. And they range from, you know, Midwest Missouri to New England. It just sort of, I'm not sure which is which, but they have different styles. And on top of that, you have a progression of time, meaning, you know, this is supposed to be Main Street during the turn of the century, but the lights, if you pay attention to lights as you walk down Main Street, and this is the real one too, it's Main Street progressing through time. So the Main Street at the end here actually has electrical lampposts, while the ones at the beginning have gas lampposts, and the idea is you're going through, you know, the turn of the century as you walk down Main Street. Now, it serves as another function. Like I said, a lot of the people who worked at Disney were in the film industry, and so they use Main Street, interestingly enough, as sort of like the opening credits for the Magic Kingdom. Because back then, older movies, would play the entire opening credit. Like, the credit sequence would be right at the beginning of the film. It wouldn't be at the end like we have it today. And that is true of the Magic Kingdom as well. So if you're walking down Main Street, the real Main Street, and you look up in the windows of all of these buildings, you'll see the names for fake businesses or, fake offices, but those are actually real names of real people who are heavily involved in the creation of Disney and Disney World. You've got some names such as Frank Wells, for instance. He was the president for about 10 years of Disney World. So they all have sort of a little business. Sometimes it has to do with where they worked within the company. And Walt's up there as well. If you want to know where Walt is, if you come over here, I'll show you right now. So Walt, they put right up there. So if you go to Disney, if you swing around here and make a right at Main Street, you'll see Walt's name up in here. It'll be Walter Elias Disney. And the reason they put him on the side there as opposed to down Main Street is because they wanted his name to always be facing Cinderella's castle. And sure enough, that's what they did. Main Street offers, like I said, a lot of stores. You have Casey's Corner here, which offers a lot of old-timey baseball-type food. You get hot dogs and popcorn and that sort of stuff. You have, of course, the name's escaping me now, but you've got the ice cream shop here. Some awesome ice cream. You can always grab an ice cream and then sit out on the sidewalk of Main Street for fireworks. A lot of these have essentially become gift shops. And one of the cool things is that they're all different buildings, as you can see, but in Disney they're strung together. And let's see if they are here as well. They might not be here. Yeah. But there's usually an opening so that you can go from one shop to the other without ever having to leave the building, which is great because you're in Orlando, so some afternoons it's really hot. And they've got the movie theater now in the older Main Street, the one in Disneyland. I believe it's an opera house, but here it's a movie theater. You get some really nice Disney-related art there. And then here you've got the confectionery, a huge and a pretty cool candy store. And then next to the confectionery right here is the hat shop. And those sort of famous, iconic Disney ears that you see people wear, you buy right there and you can get them customized, things like that. There are a couple of other cool things here in Main Street. Now, I don't think it's here in the Minecraft version, but there's a statue here called Sharing the Magic. And it's a Minnie Mouse sitting with Roy Disney. And if you don't know who Roy Disney is, Roy was Walt's brother. And he was the business side of the Walt Disney Company up until his death, really. And they sort of worked together. A lot of people remember Walt and they credit Walt. But you have to realize that Walt was this creative person. He wasn't really the best at running a business. That's what Roy really excelled at. And so the two of them working together made this great partnership. And a lot of people theorize that the reason Disney in the 90s was booming and it became like the decade of Disney was because you had a similar dynamic between Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. You had one who was more creatively minded and the other who was more business focused. And when you get the two working together and they can put their time into one of those aspects of the company, it really flourishes. And I think you see it. It does. You saw the renaissance of Disney with, their animation renaissance I'm referring to, which is like The Little Mermaid and The Lion King and all of those great films. And the parks really got big at that point and expanded. And the second statue you have here is called Partners, and it's of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse standing there. And both of these statues sculpted by an Imagineer, Blaine Gibson, and it sits right in front of Cinderella's castle. And we'll cover the castle really quickly. So the castle, little fun facts about it. So it's 189 feet tall. It looks taller than that due to something called forced perspective. And what forced perspective is each layer of the castle is a little shorter than the last, and it recreates that illusion of something being far away, and so it tricks your mind into thinking something's taller than it really is. And they try to keep things short in Disney because you're in Florida, which is one, you've got some pretty bad hurricanes at times, and also because due to state laws, if something's a certain height, you need to put a flashing light on top for airplanes, and Imagineers thought that would really kill the illusion. So they keep them under that limit. Nothing will ever be taller than that. And another fun fact, for all the stones you see here in Minecraft, there is not a single stone used on the actual Cinderella's castle. So that's been a quick look at Main Street USA. Like I said, every week I'm going to pick an attraction or an area of the park. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of it in terms of Disney World, and we're going to walk around and check it out in Minecraft. If you have any suggestions on what we should cover next, please feel free to leave it in the comments. And I hope to see you all here next week for the next episode of Minecraft Disney World. Bye, everyone.